What up, man? It's your big brother K-Rino. Hey, man, look, serious question for y'all. If looking at the current state of the world and knowing how the United States of America loves to involve itself in affairs that you would think on the outside looking in have nothing to do with them, but they always got an interest, always got an agenda going on. Um, if they were to reinstitute the draft for military service, how many of y'all would actually go? Would you go if they came out tomorrow and said, "Hey man, we starting the draft back up. All hands on deck. We need everybody. It's time to get it on." Um, how many of y'all would go? We know that the draft was something that was enforced decades ago, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter if you were the working man with a family. It didn't matter if you were celebrities. You know, they would draft celebrities. They would draft athletes and entertainers and all that. They would give them little cushy little jobs. They wouldn't just drop them straight in the mix like that. But they would have them to entertain the troops and do little lightweight stuff. But nonetheless, that was considered them answering the call of duty and fulfilling their obligation to service of their country. Now, over the years, even when the draft was mandatory, there were still people who did not participate. You had those who were conscientious objectors, such as Muhammad Ali being a great example of that. Those who, for religious reasons, did not participate in the draft, or people who just did not agree with the policy, who did not agree with why America was going to war in the first place. And in those cases, those people were jailed, they were called draft dodgers, they were vilified, or whatever the case might be. But of course, a lot of the true to the bone draft dodgers, they got a pass, and then you find out that stuff years later. But it doesn't matter if it's your child, it doesn't matter who it is, they're 18, 19 years old, just starting life, you're old enough to go and die on the basis of, in the case of the United States of America, lies and falsehoods, because pretty much all of their wars have been based around lies and falsehoods. This is a warmongering nation that we live in, and they thrive on war. The war machine is part of what powers America, and the quest, the never-ending quest to take control of resources that exist in foreign nations. That quest and that thirst is what fuels America to get involved and put their hand in everybody's pot. And so there's a very good possibility that one day they could reinstitute the draft. And I know some of y'all might be like, "Well, man, I'm in America, so I gotta do what I gotta do. If it comes down to it, man, I just gotta, you know." But when you look at it from the standpoint of history, you'll see that a lot of times, man, black people who have fought in every war, say that part again, black people have fought in every single war that America has been involved in, all the way to the beginning. And we still find ourselves in positions where we're fighting to be just treated as equal citizens, just to have an equal shot at humanity, to not be murdered and killed by police, to not be disenfranchised, and not be treated improperly by the judicial system. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. But yet we continue to put on a cape for this nation, who has shown us over and over again that they're not going to do right by us. Even white people who have fought in Vietnam, fought in World War II, and just all the way back, a lot of them even came home only to find that next thing you know, they stand on the freeway holding signs, and that the treatment and appreciation was not there. So what chance do you have? Think about, people say, "Well, man, you might be, I'm too old. I'm too old." Are you really too old? Are you really too old? If it comes down to it, if they need all hands on deck, are you really too old? And if there's an agenda in place, are you really too old? I think about reading about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was drafted in his 40s. They wanted to get him off the street. They rather would have him in the military than have him among black people, um, teaching black people about the evils and the ills of those who run this society. So they wanted to take him off the streets, and they ended up locking him up because he did not agree to go and be drafted, even though legally, he was above and beyond the age where you could get drafted. That was a limit. Over a certain age, you couldn't get drafted anymore. But that don't apply to your son or your daughter right now. And America is going to go to war again. Make no mistake about it. They will be going to war again. And if the rubber meets the road on this whole draft thing, then how are we going to view that? What is it that we'll be teaching our children in terms of how to respond to that? And are we, I don't want to use the word brainwashed, but are we brainwashed into believing everything that media and this propaganda machine puts out? Because that's how it'll happen. It'll happen in the form of some narrative being presented that will trick us into feeling like it's justified for the United States to go into war. That's a regular play. They run it over and over again. I ain't got to go into the examples, but if you know, you know. If you don't, go do some research. Will we fall for that? Will we say, well, man, this is something that we got to do? Will we look at history again and think about the fact that even after fighting in the war and making it through and not getting your legs blown off, not losing your life, not losing your mind due to chemicals and just trauma and all that, and you come back and feel like, hey, I'm somebody, man. I fought for my country, then you find out later on that your efforts were not appreciated at all. You were just a body. We needed numbers, and you represented numbers. You can go back to being an N-word now. These are the questions that we have to ask when it comes down to this subject, because people who were not even old enough to understand, in a lot of cases, what they want to do with their life outside of war, now will be put in positions, as they always have been, thrust into war situations. So, would you do it? It ain't about just your 18, 19-year-old son. It's about you. You 38, you 37, you 43. They call you, are you coming? What you gonna do? What's gonna be your decision? Let your big brother know, man, in the comment section, and let's have these conversations among ourselves in our houses, man, because I can tell you, I believe in what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, that the next war America had gonna be her last one. This big one is gonna be the last one. So, do you want to be involved in that? Because the casualties will be greater than any that preceded it. All right, man, it's your big brother K-Rino. I will catch y'all later with another one. Peace.